Happy New Year. I am so glad you're here, and I want to explain some ideas I have going forward, and you can pick the one you want, or you can do any Bible study that you want and journal about it and share about it in the group. But in 2023, I want to really encourage all the ones of you that are members to share in the group, as well as me and a few others. So, what I have been doing for, I don't know, a lot of years, maybe going on 10, I'm not even sure, but I choose one word. And the last few years, or maybe it was longer than that, it just wasn't so official. I chose one word and one verse and one song. And last year, when I was pretty sick, I put together this little 12-page booklet. And right now it's on sale and you can get it for $1.97. And you just click the link and it's in several places in the group. And it'll take you to the page where you can read more about it. And then um, you can choose to buy it and get the download from that. A lot of what I do does cost money, and every little bit just helps to support the ministry that I have here. So this is the booklet. It's in color. I just print black and white, which you can do too. And I try to choose the colors that I have in the booklet so that you can print in black and white too. And this whole theory is behind ditch your resolutions. Instead of having resolutions that you never keep, I'm encouraging you to choose one word. And then from that one word, you might find other words that kind of support it. And you might find a verse that supports that word. And then what I encourage you to do is to also look up the cross references for that verse. And then a song doesn't have to be with that word in the song, but one that speaks to your heart. And this year, I often choose a word that's hyphenated. Maybe it's because sometimes the word alone doesn't exactly explain what I want. And maybe at some years I haven't been able to choose which word. So this year I came up with the word abundant, but I don't like the idea of abundance that you hear out there and that you're going to get rich and have a lot of money. I want to have that thought, and as I share that, to help people to think of the abundance that's in Christ living in and through you, and even when you're a failure. And lately I have felt like a huge failure, and um, sort of lost my joy about it, because if you start having these thoughts go through your mind um, that are kind of attacking you, you can go crazy with that and you just start spiraling. I know I'm not alone in this. I know a lot of women have the same thing. And old things that you had victory over come back and will start like getting at you again as Satan um, like you allow Satan to do that in you, and Christ doesn't want that. You are a daughter of the King, and you are special and unique. You are enough, and not the you are enough the way the world thinks. You are enough through Christ who lives in you. You are enough because of Jesus. You are not enough because of you. If you have things that are coming back that you've asked forgiveness for and you've worked out and had victory over in the past, and then they come back to haunt you again in some way because of the words people say or of a situation that just makes you feel inadequate, that's why I came up with these verses that I just shared, like a little thing on there that explains it, and then it has a link that'll take you to this. So this is prettier. It's color. Lots of people have colored ink, but we were just a few years ago, we were going through the colors so fast, and so it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be colored. Put it to grayscale and print it. The point is you have these verses. And the idea is I will take these a lot of times, most of the time, and I will write out the verse and I will journal it. And what it is that I was feeling like I wasn't enough. So I actually did this for myself, but because I know I'm not the only woman that ever, I can't get my bangs right. Sorry. It like everything's opposite. So I make it worse trying to fix it, and they're getting long. So that I digress. So you are enough, and these verses have to do with God's goodness when you fail. So when you are failing in some area, or you think you failed, and you're just like having all this negativity going on in your mind, these thoughts, and that oh, you can't do it, you're just not smart enough, and those kind of things that you might have go through your mind, these verses will help you, because it will help to show you how God's enough and what God did for you by dying on the cross, and just all sorts of things. And I'm going to be working through this, so forget it, so that I have victory over the things in my life. So back to this. There is, because I really want to give it, want you to get it. It's a way of writing it down. And by having this, you can see the thought process that I've already gone through to put it together. And you write out your one word, and you write out your one verse. I have a whole chapter there and 2 verses here written down so far. and the song. My song is often a hymn because there's so much spiritual value, like depth in a hymn. Not saying other songs don't have that, but mine is Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, because that song kept coming up. It's not a new song. It's been around for years. And here's like some instructions of how you can go about choosing your word. And this year I was really late at feeling like I had clarity over what word I wanted. And so that is just so important. And verses of your word. And I left like several pages for that. There's one and there's one, because I end up over, not all in one day, but over time, I come up with quite a few verses. If you cross-reference them, and you can do it on the computer so easily, just like that's how I got these verses. You type in verses about goodness or whatever it is you want, and it brings up a bunch of verses. And these are verses, and I have other Bible reading plans, which when you pick this, I think it takes you to a page where I've got almost all of mine, and I'm hoping to soon make sure I've got all of mine, because you can pick up out other ones that will speak to your needs. And my goal is to have 12. I probably have 12, but make sure I have them on that page for you to use. And so that's not quite enough of what I have. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be reading through Matthew. I did most of it, like the first and second chapter, kind of in depth in December. But I want to complete Matthew. There's 28 chapters, so I figure I can do it in January, 1 chapter a day. Lots of people want to read through, like reading through the whole Bible in the year. You can do that. I have done that many years, but I don't end up feeling God's presence because I'm rushing. I'm not a fast reader at all. And so then I want to write out the verse. And so I want to write out another verse that spoke to my heart. And then I end up, it just takes me too long, and it's time to be cooking breakfast and doing other things in my life. So I will be printing up a thing for Matthew, just the chapters. And the idea is, although you could just do that with that or any other book you want to read, is that I can check it off. And so I will be sharing that with the group as soon as I get the time this week. I don't think I'll get the time tomorrow. And so I just want to encourage you. I don't think I'll be sharing as much as I did in December, but maybe 3 times a week I'll be sharing something I drew, because life is busy. In December, I have other ones. I did a lot of them, but I did have some I pulled on from other weeks, other years. But I also, what I'm going to try to do is do them like simpler, so that I can also be demonstrating and showing you how to journal, so that you will have the encouragement to journal if you feel that you're not artistic and you can't draw. And the thing is that when I started a few years ago, I had not drawn anything since I was about 8 or 9 years old. And so that I think a lot of times the ability to be creative is there. Maybe not like a Picasso or a Rembrandt or some famous artist, but God placed in you a creativity. And no matter what your ability is, even if it is kind of just very simple, some of the ones that people share that are simple, they are just beautiful to me. So just remember that and be encouraged. And when you share, you are encouraging other women. It doesn't have to be like you see on so many groups, or even like mine. I sometimes I feel embarrassed because I I don't want to make somebody feel that they can't do it. And what makes this group is when we all share. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll be putting this up soon for you to see or listen to. Okay, thank you. And Happy New Year.